Hello everyone. Welcome to how you can find an A+ setup using this very simple checklist with clear steps plotted. This is going to help you determine where price will likely gravitate towards, find a setup within that move to maximize your results. So before we get into anything, we're going to write down what the A+ checklist looks like for me. What do I look for to determine an A+ setup? And what checklist is it using these very simple steps using this top-down approach? So to begin, what I look for is what are we seeing on the 4-hour heading into this session that can help me determine the bias. Is price delivering a certain way? Are certain things being respected versus disrespected? Where is price likely going to draw towards in terms of this bias? Next, then I go to the 1 hour. And from this point, when we are near the session I'm going to trade, I go to this 1 hour time frame and I determine where will price likely draw towards. Is there any clear draw that price can gravitate towards on the higher time frame that we can take a trade in that direction? Doesn't necessarily have to target the draw, but it can be in that direction. You can target the draw if it seems attainable. What is price showing? What's the delivery? Is it consistent with the 4 hour? What's being respected, disrespected, and so on? Where is price likely going to gravitate towards? Where is the draw? And then from that point, you move on to step 3. And this is where you go to the 15-minute. And you go and look for the 15-minute confirmations. So then I drop to the 15-minute. I see, okay, are we getting a certain manipulation that then will distribute in our direction? Are we getting a certain rebalance that will then distribute in our direction towards our draw within our bias? Is everything consistent? Are we finding things that can lead to price heading in that direction? And if the case is yes, then you can head to step 4 for this A+ checklist. And that is lower time frame entry within that model. Whatever your model is. If the 4-hour bias is in agreement with the 1-hour draw that price can likely gravitate towards, and then you see 15-minute confirmations that are within your setup, within your model, like the ones that I have, that then you can look for the lower time frame confirmations and entries that are all in the direction, giving you an A+ setup. This is what A+ looks like. Everything is in agreement. The lower time frame agrees with the 50-minute, which agrees with the 1 hour, which agrees with the 4-hour. This is what A+ looks like, and I'm going to give you certain examples that you can utilize as well. So again, it's looking to find if that model here within this A+ checklist agrees all around. So we're going to go on the 4-hour. I'm going to pick a random point. I'm going to go farther back, and I'm going to bring this checklist with me so we can check it off as we go. So whatever it may be, we're going to head back here. We'll pick here. We'll go with this Monday right here, whatever it is. Anyways, so we're picking this point. And so what are we seeing here in price? Let's look. We're on the 4-hour. So that's step 1. What is the bias? Well, you can see clearly on this Wednesday, on the 18th, price gave a huge move down, showing a huge imbalance. The state of delivery is starting to change, heading to the downside. Huge gap right here is being obviously respected right now. We come lower, price comes up, takes this high right here. So sweep of this high within a big bearish gap. We're going to put sweep right here. So sweep of this high within a big bearish gap when the state of delivery is bearish. Obviously, several bullish gaps being disrespected. And I mean, now I see this clear lows below that price can gravitate towards. Low resistance liquidity right here. Right here, low resistance. That price can definitely go target. We've seen jagged price action here. Price did its damage. Smooth lows are rested here. State of delivery is bearish. Sweep of a high right here. In this bearish gap, still being respected. Multiple bullish gaps disrespected. And smooth lows below for price to gravitate towards. So, the 4-hour bias for me leans towards the downside. I then will go to the 1 hour right here to see if it's consistent. So 4-hour bias. Let's Get this checklist going. 4-hour bias right here. Bang. Checked. For us, we have the bias. Now I go to the 1 hour. Heading into this AM session, I'm going to look, okay, what is price doing here? So, like I said, huge move up. This 1 hour bearish imbalance. The first one that formed here on this move down, or the latest one, being respected still. We have formed multiple bullish imbalances here, but the state of delivery is bearish. So unless we start seeing a definite move to the upside, price would then have to take out this gap here. I would still lean to the downside. This high has been taken. We're seeing price, once it took this high, there is no intention to take this high once more. So this high looks like it can be protected. And like I said, on the 4 hour, 1 hour, we have objectives to the downside here. So my draw would be in that direction. So the clear draw, the very safe draw is here. Now on the higher time frame, you go and say, okay, the draws are right here. Price can gravitate towards this over time. Does that seem attainable on this given day? Not necessarily. But the 1 hour drawn liquidity being right here, filling this unfilled 1 hour gap, seems quite attainable. So for me, the drawn liquidity on the 1 hour, checked. It's a bit hard with these things, but you understand what I'm trying to do here. So 1 hour, checked. So the 1 hour agrees with the 4 hour. All right, let me go to the 15 minute now. Off that sweep of liquidity, bearish and bounce respected, clear lows below, unfilled 1 hour gap, state of delivery is bearish. Let's go to the 15 minute to see if things agree. So let's go now, 15 minute. What would I like to see here heading into this hour? Well, ideally, I'd like to see some manipulation to the upside. Let me just mark this sell side. Sell side, which is that draw that we think price can gravitate towards. Now, if this draw is already tapped, then I would step back, reanalyze, look for signatures in price. That potentially could give me a move further down if price shows a willingness to head lower. But if we see a manipulation to the upside, then that agrees with the 4 hour and 1 hour. You're starting to see price go into a premium, give us an optimal short in the direction of that draw, which is that 50-minute sell side liquidity as well, which is in agreement with the 1 hour draw. So then from this point, as we head into that 9 a.m. hour, I want to see, do we manipulate to the upside? Heading into market open, I'm going to wait, see what price decides to do. We're digging into this gap right now. And what do we have here upon market open? We have a sweep of buy side liquidity right here. So there is that manipulation I'm talking about. That's what I wanted to see in the charts. We have this clear sell side, clear drawn liquidity below, which is an agreement with that higher time frame. And so from this point, I would look upon that manipulation. Do we get a move to the downside towards that draw, which the 4 hour agrees with, 1 hour agrees with. Now the 15 minute is showing that manipulation before we can potentially distribute lower. So then we have check here, and check here on the 15 minute. So 3 agreements right here. A plus checklist is starting to pan out. The only thing missing now is that A plus lower time frame confirmation. If we get that, then we have the potential entry short. So let me bring this checklist below. All right. So let's recap here. 4 hour check. 1 hour check. I'm going to delete this now because they don't stay. 15 minute check. So the A plus checklist is panning out. The bias is bearish. Draw is clear. Low resistance below. 50-minute manipulation. All right. Everything is in agreement. Let's go to the lower time frame and look if we get an entry upon that sweep of buy side liquidity. So let's go here. Take this high. That's the sweep I'm talking about. And now look on the 1 minute. You're getting that agreement once more. Several lows below here untouched. I mean, the higher time frame we have low resistance liquidity. And now on the 1 minute, we have this low resistance as well. Look how many lows here are untouched. This agrees. The lower time frame agrees with the 50 minute, agrees with the 1 hour, agrees with the 4 hour. So now everything is in a position to head lower. we get that manipulation to the upside. The 4 hours bearish. The 1 hour drawn liquidity is clear. Low resistance to the downside on the higher time frame. Low resistance on the lower time frame. 50-minute manipulation. Everything is in agreement. Now I look for that potential entry upon the sweep of buy side liquidity that we are in a premium. Let's see if we get it. All right, we get a clear move lower here, displacing past this short-term swing low. Break of structure right there. No gap formed just yet, so this would mean I don't have a trade to take. That's all. I would wait. You see we're starting to chop around off that. We got that manipulation here. We're starting to chop around a bit, just consolidate a bit before we make that next leg. I'm looking to wait to see if we get that entry. And now you start to see prices starting to make its move. What do we form here? We form a fair value gap. We're in a premium of this range. And so this is an optimal short to take. Now we get that confirmation. We get that break of structure. We get price form this fair value gap in the direction of the 15-minute sell side liquidity. That is in agreement with the drawn liquidity on the 1 hour. That is in agreement with the lower time frame, low resistance liquidity. That is in agreement with the higher time frame, low resistance liquidity. That is in agreement with the higher time frame on the 4 hour bias. So everything is checked off. This is an A+ short. And you're in the time frame, the zone where price is likely to run. That 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. hour. And so you wait for that retest of that fair value gap. If we get it, you enter right here. There is our entry. Short, stops above the high, targeting that sell side liquidity. So we would enter right here. And then from this point, you can take partials at this low resistance if you'd like, and then target that sell side. So like I said, everything is in agreement right now for an A+ short. And so off that point, price comes, heads lower, takes out this liquidity. Like I said, you could have taken partials here. Comes up to this gap once more. Let's see if this gap remains respected. It is respected right now. What do we see? Inverse this bullish gap, inverse this bullish gap. I like the signatures in price. Sell side would likely get tapped. And there we go. So 123 points in a very clean move to the downside with the A+ checklist. So to recap, what did we have? 4 hour was bearish. Bullish imbalances disrespected. Bearish imbalances respected. 1 hour is in agreement with the 4 hour. State of delivery is bearish. Clear draw below. Clear low resistance liquidity below. 50-minute, you get that manipulation above. Sweep of buy side liquidity. We're in a premium. Lower time frame, low resistance is clear there as well. You get the entry confirmations. So we are checked off 1 through 4. And that is the A+ checklist. A+ short right here. All right, so here is another example of how you can use that A+ checklist to find an optimal setup following all the requirements of that A+ checklist. So again, let's write down that A+ checklist just to be very clear. The A+ checklist starts with number 1, you determine the 4 hour bias. That is number 1. Then you go and look for the 1 hour drawn liquidity. See if the 1 hour agrees with the 4 hour. Then if that's consistent, you go to the 15-minute and you look for confirmations. You look for that manipulation. You look for a rebalance before distributing lower in the direction of that draw. And then if that is what you're getting, if you're getting an optimal setup, you go for your lower time frame entry. So this is what the A+ checklist looks like following those very simple steps. You start with the 4 hour for the session, you go to the 1 hour for the draw, you go to the 50-minute for the confirmation, and you go to the lower time frame for your entry. That is what I utilize and what has brought me the success I got. So to begin on the 4 hour, clearly price is delivering to the downside. Clearly we are bearish here. We haven't seen any opposing factors just yet. There hasn't been any willingness to head higher. Every single time we've come to retest an imbalance, we've just gone lower and lower. So until I start seeing a change in the way price is delivering, I'm going to maintain that bias on the 4 hour. We have lows here that price can gravitate towards here. Several lows below. So again, I still think there are objectives lower. So for me, right now, the 4 hour bias, until the market is telling me something different, something that is changing, the 4 hour is bearish. And so that's what I'm looking for. So then I go to the 1 hour and I say, okay, are we consistent with the 4 hour? So right now, check the 4 hour bias. We have a clear bias for us. The state of delivery is bearish on the 4 hour. Bearish imbalances are constantly being respected and constant objectives to the downside are being targeted. Now on the 1 hour, what do we have here? We formed a slight range here, but what do you notice? The state of delivery is bearish. And so here on the 1 hour, we're constantly making new highs and we're leaving behind lows that are untouched. So look, new high formed, low hasn't taken out this low, new high formed, low hasn't taken out this low, new high formed, low hasn't taken out this low. And so we're leaving several lows below, lots of liquidity to the downside that agrees with the 4 hour bias. So for us on the 1 hour, the draws are to these lows. We have a clear draw for price. So you can aim for these lows here. We have this one here. We have this one here. So you can look for price to gravitate towards these lows to do the damage now. It's doing its damage here. State of delivery is bearish. 4 hour is clearly bearish. 1 hour seems to be agreeing with it. We haven't shown a willingness to head higher here. This is not definite. We have this 1 hour bearish imbalance here that price is retested and has been respected time and time again, leaving several lows below. So to me, now we could check off the 1 hour. We have clear lows, clear draws, clear liquidity. Highs are constantly being taken. The state of delivery is bearish. So for us, there are clear targets for price. And so now you can check off the 1 hour. The draws are consistent with the 4 hour bias. And from this point, here's where I would go to the 15-minute. And I would look to see if we're getting something in the direction of these draws. So on market open, upon market open, we get a huge dump here. Do we get any confirmation? I'm looking. Do we get a manipulation, a sweep of buy side liquidity? Do we get a rebalance to a 50-minute bearish imbalance? What do we have for potential entry confirmations that then we could go to the lower time frame that would agree with the higher time frame bias and draw on liquidity? So heading into 10 a.m., we've taken some of these lows out. So what I would look for is, are my objectives still to the downside? Yes, the 1 hour objectives are still here. I still think price will gravitate towards these lows. Loss of liquidity. I mentioned the 4 hour lows that are there. 4 hour bearish imbalances are being respected. 1 hour bullish imbalance is disrespected. 4 hour bullish imbalance is disrespected. State of delivery is bearish. Now on the 15-minute, we have clear lows that we can come target. We formed this 15-minute bearish gap. I want to see if price forms a gap here, or if price wants to rebalance potentially to this imbalance and then potentially make a move to the downside. That's what I'm looking for. And so what do we have here? We have price did not form an imbalance here, but it forms one right here. So for me, I would be cautious. Do we come sweep these highs first? Or is this rebalance enough for price to deliver to the downside? If we get the lower time frame entry confirmations that align with this 15-minute right here, then this is an optimal short to take. So the 15-minute is checked off. We have a clear route to take. We have clear highs here. If they're taken, we will take that as a sweep of liquidity. We're digging into a premium, and now price can come down to this potentially. Just give me 1 second. So yeah, you can see here now, we're starting to dig into a premium of this range. So price can definitely come dig into this imbalance and head lower, or it could come sweep these highs and head lower. So we'll wait. If we get the lower time frame confirmations, then that's enough. I'll take a shot at this draw here. What I'll do is I'll move this just a little bit here. And like I was saying, you don't have to necessarily target the draw. You could target in that direction if that seems more attainable. So I'm waiting. What I want to see is price do something like this. Come up, internal sweep, form an entry in here somewhere, and then come to this draw. In that direction at the very least. So that's what I'm looking for. So now we're going to see if price does tap into it. We get it. So we have that 50-minute confirmation. Now we have that rebalance. We could come for these highs here. That's a 50-minute confirmation as well. But if this rebalance is enough and we get the lower time frame confirmation, lower time frame entry, all 4 steps are then checked off and we have an optimal entry to take. So I'm waiting. And number 1, there is that internal sweep right here. So 50-minute rebalance to this bearish imbalance. Internal sweep right here of newly generated liquidity. So if we have the timing, the direction, and the levels correct, price should not want to come to this high, let's say. But we'll see what price does. Price then forms a very nice breaker right here. There is a potential entry you can take. Right here, bearish breaker, inverse bullish gap, potentially form a bearish gap right here. This is a optimal entry for me. You would enter on the retest, stop above the high. And you can target in this direction if you want to come as low as here, or you can target you can either target the draw or you can target in the direction. So I'm going to show you just an example of targeting in the direction. We have sell side here. That is in the direction of the draw. And so that is our entry to the downside off this bearish breaker, inverse gap right there. So enter upon here. Fair value gap formed right here. That's our entry right there. Let me take off the magnet quick. Entry right there. And so from this point, like I said, this is at 2.38. You can target here as low as here if you'd like. If that seems attainable, then by all means you can take it. We'll just target in the direction to show you that that's an option as well. This high should not be tapped into. Why? Just swept newly generated liquidity, cleared objectives to the downside. We're in a time where price is likely to run. We have clear lows below here on the 1 minute that haven't been tapped. Price can definitely make a move to the downside now. So we'll wait and see what we get here. From this move, price is showing a willingness to head lower here. So you can see we are starting to chop around a bit, but that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. If you have the direction correct, price will gravitate towards it regardless. All right, not yet tapped. And there we go. So that is around a 175-point move in this session following this model, following this checklist. So let's recap. Why did I take this trade? Let's follow that A+ checklist. Number 1, 4-hour stated delivery is clearly bearish. 4-hour bearish imbalances are being disrespected. Every single time they're getting retested, lower objectives are being met. So until I start seeing a change in the way price is delivering that way, I'm always going to look for objectives to the downside if there are clear objectives. So that's when I go to the 1 hour. I see, okay, on the 1 hour, stated delivery is bearish, obviously. 1 hour bullish imbalances are being disrespected. 1 hour bearish imbalances are being respected. There are clear lows below the target. And so from that point, I see, okay, the 1 hour agrees with the 4 hour. Then I go to the 15-minute. Do we get a manipulation to the upside? Do we get a rebalance? Are we in a premium? Is there an optimal short to take? We see the rebalance. 50-minute confirmation is there. We just came back to rebalance to a 50-minute bearish imbalance. Okay, now we have that confirmation. So the step 1, 2, and 3 of that A+ checklist are met. All that's missing is step 4. And you can see in step 4, in this AM session, we're in that session, price, internal sweep, move to the downside, clear displacement, fair value gap, bearish breaker, inverse gap. 3 things formed at once here. 3 bearish PD arrays formed at once that you can take a short off of. Clear lows to target in the direction of that 1 hour draw. That is all in agreement from step 1 to 4. That is an A+ setup. The A+ checklist has been followed. And when you follow this checklist, when you follow this constantly every single day, you are putting yourself in a position where you are very unlikely to fail. Because this, over time, will succeed. Day in and day out. It happens every single day, and you can find it. And so this is a perfect example how you can utilize that A+ checklist and determine, are conditions optimal? And this is clearly telling us that yes, there are lower objectives to be met, and this is when it's going to run. And so we take advantage of this 175-point move in the AM session. And so I hope this was insightful. I hope you got some value out of this. Let me know below in the comments. Show some love. I wish you all good luck. Study this top-down approach. Utilize this A+ checklist. Write this down with you. Have it by your side. And see for yourself how effective this truly is in knowing when to take optimal trades. So thank you for watching. Wish you good luck, good trading, and take care, everybody.